RBT family, what is the deal? It's your dog Willie Jack, and we are back, baby, back with more. Wait a second, back with more boxing action, man. It's bonus boxing Sunday, man. It's bonus boxing Sunday. I'm excited. I'm fired up, man. Hey, y'all know what's going on, man. You know we get pretty one-track minded in NFL season, man. But now we got a little break. All right, we know who's going to the big dance, and so now in the meantime, in between time, we got a little time to talk a little boxing. So I'm definitely excited about it, definitely fired up about it. Had a good, entertaining fight last night. A couple good, entertaining fights last night, honestly. And so definitely, of course, headlined by the Mexican Monster, David Benavidez, taking on and defeating David Morrell. So can't wait for y'all to get in here and sit down and get real comfortable so we can get into that for sure. But, man, I tell y'all, it's been a while. Like I said, it's been a while since we really have got to get into some good boxing talk, man. So definitely excited about it. Can't wait to get everything going. Now, same old saying, y'all know what's going on. I see a few of y'all already in the views. I don't see enough of y'all in the chat. Hold on. Who's in there? Okay, first one through the door today. Miles in the building. Appreciate you. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Big Nation Business. Still in the building. Yeah, have a blessed show as always. Appreciate you, lady. Appreciate you for sure. But man, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. We probably a little overdue for some boxing talk. We are. We've had a couple good fights, a couple big fights that we haven't got to get in and chop it up and talk about. So definitely can't wait to do that, man. So definitely glad that time is now. The drought is over. Okay, the drought is over. We here. We definitely here. Hold on 1 second. Get my notes together. Get a little early morning do it fluid in me as well. Yeah, that'll do. How was y'all weekend? Hope your weekend was as good as mine. I ain't do nothing at all. I didn't do that. I don't know. I can count how many times I left my bed yesterday. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. Y'all said you want to. But, okay, there we go. Oh, now here's another thing as well. Now, this is going to be a first. All right, because we got some news. We definitely got some newsworthy news, if that makes sense. We've got newsworthy news. All right? And it's not NFL related. It's not NCAA college football related. Hell, it's not even boxing related. And this boxing is bonus boxing Sunday. It's not boxing related. But it is massive news nonetheless. All right? And there's some things that transcend all others. And when you get a massive dual superstar trade out the blue, who's seen this coming? In the NBA, we got to talk about it. Now, this isn't an NBA channel. This is not an NBA channel. It's not an NBA platform. I am a very, very casual NBA fan these days. I will admit it. I do not deny it. And it's been that way for me for a number of years now. You know what I mean? And so I'm definitely a very casual NBA fan. Like, my NBA season hasn't started yet. NBA preseason for me doesn't even start until after the Super Bowl. All right? So the NBA preseason in my mind starts after the Super Bowl. That's February, right? That's also right around the time we're getting to the All-Star game. See, for me, this is the start of the preseason of NBA for me. All right? Then, you know what I mean? There's about a good month of regular season right in there before the Super Bowl. Right in there before the playoffs start. And then we end the season, all right? Then we get into the season for me, personally. You know what I mean? My NBA season starts in the playoffs. And then I'll pay a lot more attention and be more involved. But until then, it's a little bit off my radar. I'm hiding way in the back. But then we get something like this that happens. The LA Lakers, the Los Angeles Lakers, have agreed to a trade, or it's a done deal, with the Dallas Mavericks to swap superstars. Anthony Davis being traded from the Lakers to the Mavericks in return for Luka Doncic, And this is a massive trade. And what's crazy, I saw a blimp about this last night after the Benavidez and Morrell fight, and I just assumed it was fake. I didn't, you know what I mean? I didn't pay it any mind. You know what I mean? Like I saw, I was like, yeah, okay. That's random. Okay, whatever. You know what I mean? Like I did not imagine it was legitimate, but apparently, unless I've been bamboozled, what, almost 12 hours later? Let's say 10, 11 hours later, unless I've been fooled, unless it's some type of deep fake. If this turns out to be fake, I'm telling you right now, they gotta pull old boy out of retirement because Shams ain't getting it done. If this is fake news, then Shams, you out of there, man. We going back to Buddy. I can't even think of his name right now. We bringing him back though. Don't matter what it costs, we bringing him back out of retirement. But this is crazy. And here's the thing about it, like, I don't necessarily love this move either way. I really don't. Because if for one, if you're the Mavericks, so and especially Mark Cuban's Mavericks, these are the only Mavericks I'm familiar with. You know what I mean? I'm not going to I'm familiar with Mark Cuban's iteration of the Mavericks, right? Like most of us are from the mid '90s on. So he's built his organization around one primary star, Dirk Nowitzki, right? And Dirk was fantastic player. Won a championship. I mean, he built that organization and did a fantastic job to not be a major market and to still hold some relative star power, be as influential as he is in the league, and to be a champion. And so then it looks like he has the perfect kind of transition. We phase Nowitzki out, make a move in the draft Luka Doncic. And so it looks like, man, okay, bam, there's our new star. And, I mean, just coincidentally, but funny enough to say, he replaced the extremely talented white Euro star with another younger, supremely talented white Euro star. I mean, it teed up perfect. And then, super talented, they still got to put some pieces around him. You make a move, you bring in Kyrie Irving. No one's sure how that move's going to work. But honestly, I like them together. I like the backcourt with Kyrie and Luka, two guys that are equally capable of taking over a game in the critical moments. Either of them can go for 30 at the drop of a hat. I like it. You know what I mean? And so I don't know, but if you're gonna move one of those guys, Luka had been the centerpiece of the organization. Like I said, like he's the guy. He's the new flagship player that took over for Dirk, and so to see him be moved is startling to me. It's startling. Like, I would have thought he's one of those guys, like in the NBA, NFL's a lot more cavalier. Nobody's safe. That's what I should say. Nobody's safe. Peyton Manning got traded from the Colts, man. You know what I mean? Now he had to break his neck to do it, but it happened. You know what I'm saying? NBA's not like that. You know what I'm saying? Like Tom Brady went to so nobody's safe in the NFL. NBA's a little different. It's like 4 or 5 guys that call their own shot. You know what I mean? Untouchables. Steph, LeBron. I would have thought added to that list was Luka in Dallas. I would have thought he's one of those guys. You know what I mean? You're not moving away from your Jordan. He's their Jordan. Not moving away from that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so surprised. And because Luka's young. Luka's what? He's like, I think it's like his 7th year in the league. He was like 17 when he got here. And had been a professional in Europe for like 4 years before that. It just, prodigy. 6'9", 240-pound prodigy. And so, moving him, Kyrie's fantastic. He is, but he's what, 32? Not extremely old. This isn't, the NBA is a little different than the NFL. I mean, he's not to say he doesn't have time left or whatever. He's still playing fantastic, but he's 32. Anthony Davis also right in there around 32. You know what I mean? And I think we've seen both of those guys like on their own as true number one alphas, and neither of those teams did well like in that space with just those two. Now the circumstances have to be, you know what I mean? Kyrie on his own in Cleveland, you know, who was going to do much with that besides LeBron? And even when LeBron got there, he brought his luggage. What Coach Prime say? Even LeBron brought his luggage when he went to Cleveland. You know what I mean? So I don't want to completely just discount Kyrie and what he was able to do there or not do there. But Anthony Davis in his time in New Orleans left me wanting, man. Left me wanting more. Because the talent, the ability, the position you play, like why weren't the Pelicans able to build around Anthony Davis like the Spurs did with Tim Duncan? I mean, that's still not. No, shit. He had Chris Paul there. Yeah, Anthony Davis had Chris Paul in New Orleans, the Pelicans back in the day or whatever. So yeah, why wasn't I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna pair Kyrie with Anthony Davis now. I don't know, man. I don't know. And then if you're the Lakers as well, Kyrie and LeBron's games are like the way they're most effective is pretty similar. They're both point forwards. They're both 6'9"-ish, 250-ish. You know what I mean? And guys that dominate the field. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Anthony Davis been cooking. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. This one blows my mind. So now seeing Luka, and also here's a question as well. I wonder what level of involvement or awareness or knowledge did LeBron have in this move before it was made? Because I would just be hard-pressed to believe that LeBron was blindsided by this news last night. Like, I would be hard-pressed to believe that's the case. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. And you know what it makes me think about? Now that I'm talking about it, now we talk about it. It makes me think about, remember when the clips were going around when LeBron broke Kareem's scoring record and everybody stood up and cheered and clapped? Anthony Davis sitting down, wiping sweat off his brow. I don't even know if he was looking at the field or looking at the court. He might have been staring off to the right, like just completely checked out of a monumental moment for LeBron becoming an all-time scoring leader. So it makes me think about that. Because I know like when those memes or videos or clips of that were going around, it was quickly dispelled or squashed. You know what I mean? Like, man, don't read too deep into it. Boom, boom, boom. Just whatever they said at the time. But now it makes me wonder, maybe it was something there, man. Maybe it's not as smooth as we would think or it looks like. I mean, I don't know. Because I don't understand why you make this move. Anthony Davis is in the prime of his career and he's playing fantastic basketball. LeBron's 40 years old, man. LeBron's 40. He played this season just as much for Bronny as anything else. You know what I mean? How many more are promised to LeBron? So Anthony Davis, I would think that like, no, man, he's got to be the guy you're teeing up to be the flagship player going forward. Like it makes sense to make. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. And so now I guess okay, we'll see Luka and LeBron together. Okay. I don't know, man. And just still looking for. I mean, I guess Luka's definitely going to be the flagship guy going forward. You know what I mean? To take that mantle or handle from LeBron. Like, okay, that's cool. LeBron's gonna give you this year. Maybe he gives you one more. I don't think he's gonna wait for Bryce. Maybe depending on how things shake out, man. Maybe he decides to give you one more. I wouldn't think so though. I think the goal was to get Bronny to the league, play a season, be there for him for this opening year. And then this may be the last hurrah. I don't know, man. But I don't know. This blew my mind. This blew my mind. So I don't know. I don't know what y'all think about it. Somebody let me know. Sister got in the building. I see you. What's going on? Happy Sunday to the folks. Appreciate you. But no, that was crazy, man. I'm trying to think of another. I don't know. I'm trying to think of another something comparable or similar. I mean, it's rare that you see like star for star trades on this level. Like these are two of the top 10 players in the league. These are probably two of the top 8 players in the league. You know what I mean? Like, this is at the top. These are two guys at the top in their primes. Anthony Davis in his prime. Luka's, he's entering his prime, roughly. I think Luka's like 20, maybe he's 25. He may just be getting to his prime. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. That blew my mind. That blew my mind this morning. That definitely blew my mind this morning. Some more of them members that fell in the building. John Parham said Brian is gone. They turned it down? John Parham, man, what's up, bro? You know, I don't recognize your name, homeboy. I don't recognize your name, man. Where you from and who's your team? Now, I should warn y'all, man. We talking NBA. This is the first. This is the first time we've talked NBA on this channel. This is primarily a football channel. We dabble in boxing. Today was supposed to be a boxing day. You know what I'm saying? A little bonus boxing. But then when you get news like this, man, we got to talk about it. John Parham said Brian is gone. Hey, maybe, man. I mean, no, I don't know, man. I don't know if he wants to leave Bronny. I think coming back this season to play with Bronny, laying the foundation, laying all that legwork behind the scenes or maybe not even quietly, bringing Bronny to the Lakers to play with them. I don't think he wants to necessarily leave. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know. My dog Miles in the building, man. What's up, man? He said they trying to make basketball interesting again. Hey, this did it for me. I ain't talked basketball on this channel, and I ain't talked basketball in a public forum, and I can't tell you how long. So, I mean, maybe it was working. I'm telling you. And that's what's crazy. Like, I saw something, like, about this last night, like, after that Benavidez and Morrell fight. I thought it was fake. Or I just didn't give it any. I was like, man, all right, no. All right. Like, no, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't even look twice at it. John Parr and K-Bay said Brian's going to be a Warrior or a Cav. I mean, it's no secret Brian wants to play with Steph. There's no secret there. But, I mean, why would what incentive would the Lakers have to, like, tear it down? Like, I don't think they're competing. I mean, they're like, what, the Lakers like 4 in the West right now? Are they like the 4th or 5th seed in the West? They beat the Warriors by like 15, almost 20 points, maybe like 2 weeks ago. Draymond didn't play that game, but so, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to take a shot at Draymond, but I'm just the way that game looked and the way these teams look, I don't see him being the difference in that game, especially with a 15 or 18 points victory. But like, I don't know, man. Like, what incentive do the Lakers have to do this though? Because like, if Brian goes to the Warriors, who's coming back? Steph's not. Steve Kerr and they not moving Steph. So who's coming back from the Warriors? And if you the Cavs in the East, they've got a young, talented team. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland. You know what I mean? They got some young guys there. Are they wanting to send that young nucleus that is extremely competitive in the East? They want to send out those guys to LA for what? One more run with Brian? Brian and who? Who's gonna be left if they do that? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know, dog. Yeah, it's a wrap. That's over with. It's a wrap. John came back and say he's from Louisville. That's what's up, bro. That's what's up. Now, are you an NFL fan primarily, a boxing fan, or an NBA fan? Because I hate to mislead you now. We talking NBA right now? I don't know when we'll talk NBA again. This is primarily NFL, dabbling a little boxing, talk a little college football, but it's more so geared that way. But man, y'all, this type of news, man, we got to talk about it for sure. Say you from Louisville. That's what's up. Okay, he got into boxing. Okay, said the Pitbull fight was a hell of a fight, and they need to run it. Him and Tank Davis need to run it back. You know what? And you know, we'll go ahead and transition into some boxing. We go ahead and transition to boxing. Now, here's the thing about that Pitbull fight. I mean, yeah, no, it was entertaining for sure. But also, like, the more I see of Pitbull, the less and less impressed I am. Hey, I dig that. He's a sports fan, but he loves boxing. Yeah, okay, I dig that. Hey, well, you tapped in on the right day, man. We definitely gonna do some talking today. You know what I'm saying? Boxing's like my favorite stepson. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a football fan. Like, football is my first love for sure. But boxing's definitely it's my favorite stepson, man. My favorite nephew, for sure. So I definitely love talking boxing, man. And we got a free week. But with the Super Bowl coming up. So, man, I was like, man, what better time to talk a little boxing, especially on the heels of a good fight we got last night. But Pitbull's fights are always entertaining. I mean, and also another thing too, man. Like, I don't know if there's any fighter or entertainer or anyone in sports whose like nickname is more suited or more suitable to their personality than Pitbull Cruz. That's exactly what he is. He's like a little scrappy, muscled up 5'4" Pitbull, chin down, charging forward all night. Like, man, I'm telling you. But no, definitely entertaining fight for sure. Especially when you've got a guy in there who's not afraid to trade with him as well. And so, yeah, no, definitely an entertaining fight. I don't know if I need to see that Tank Davis fight again. I really don't. Because honestly, like, I don't. There's 4 fighters. There's 3-4 fights before that Pitbull fight again that I would need to see, that I would want to see Tank fight before fighting Pitbull again. And his hand was broken that first one, and he still just outclassed him. I don't need to see that again. And especially with Tank Davis entertaining retirement, how serious that is or not, whatever. But let's say if Tank really is putting himself on some style of retirement clock, and let's say if he's going to have 2 or 3 fights left at the most, he's talking like 2025 is it. So he's going to open with Lamont Roach. Nobody wanted to see that fight anyway, but he's going to open with Lamont Roach. Okay, he should start Lamont Roach. Respectfully to Lamont Roach Jr. He should get past that. So now let's say if in 2025, if he's going to have, if the over-unders 1.5 more fights after this Lamont Roach fight, how much would you put on the over? I don't know. I'm thinking maybe 1 more if he's serious about trying to walk away and leave. He just looks disinterested in the sport at this point. So if he's got 1 or let's stretch and say 2 left, I'm not wasting one of those 2 on another Pitbull fight, bro. I can't do it, man. Fight Shakur, and then fight Devin or T.O., either one of them. But between Shakur, Devin, and T.O., Tank's next 2 fights need to be between those 3 opponents. And that's it. That's all I want to see. There's nothing else that intrigues me. I don't even want to see Lomachenko fight no more at this point. I don't even want to see him fight Lomachenko. He should have fought him 5 years ago. He's scared. He ran. I mean, say what you want to, he ran. Because a young, relatively inexperienced Teofimo Lopez took that fight that he didn't want 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago now, and won. You know what? Hey, man, that's a good point. Well, the scoring was weird. So I scored it. And matter of fact, since we talk about it, let me get it together. I scored it 116-110 for Benavidez. Now, the scoring wise, I had it 9 rounds to 3. So I had it 9 rounds to 3, but the scored knockdown in the 11th, so that cost Benavidez a point. And then also the point deduction in that same round to close took a point away from Morrell. So it wasn't a 2-point round for Morrell. It was still a 1-point round, but it's a 9-8. I scored it a 9-8. So the score looks a little funky, but I had it 9-3 Benavidez. That 4th round was probably a swing round for a lot of people. I still gave that 4th round to Benavidez, but it was razor thin because Benavidez did a lot of good work in that round. Like he was Benavidez, bruh. Benavidez might as well be Thanos. Like when Thanos told the Avengers, like, man, I'm inevitable. That's how I feel watching David Benavidez, especially in this fight. Like, he is just consistently stalking. He doesn't get rushed. He doesn't get hurried. He really just stays at his own pace. Morrell did a good job of like like he would have these explosive flashes where he would really let his hands go. And Benavidez just sat there, high guard, weathering the storm. He has better head movement than I think we give him credit for a lot of the times. You know what I'm saying? But like Morrell really couldn't get much of anything through. Not much. There were things that things that fell through the cracks, but for the most part, I feel like just Benavidez was just an endless wave, just kept crashing on the beach, stalking, and everything he threw was thudding. Everything he threw just looked heavy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Morrell had a nice high guard as well. And the longer that fight went on, the more and more of those shots started breaking through that guard, man. Especially those inside uppercuts. Once we got past like round 6 on, I feel like Benavidez really settled in and was just taking his time, thumping dude around his ring. But Morrell never laid down. You know what I mean? So I was still entertained. Like, it was scoring wise, it felt pretty one-sided to me. But no, man, but Morrell was there. And here's the thing about Morrell. Like, I think he's only a year younger than Benavidez, but professionally, he's a much younger fighter. It makes me think about Frank Martin and Tank Davis. They're roughly the same age, because Frank Martin got a later start in boxing, but they're roughly the same age. But as far as in the sport, it was a senior and a freshman. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, in regards to Tank and Frank Martin, it was a senior and an 8th grader. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just weren't on the same level. So like Morrell's I really like what I saw from Morrell. As strange as that may sound, because he's explosive. He's got really good hand speed. He's got good explosive movement, just period. He's just a fantastic athlete. You know what I mean? Not scared to let his hands go. And he's got a stiff chin. Because he took some strong shots from Benavidez. And he never, like, I feel like he never conceded. You know what I mean? In that fight at all. Oh, my fault. I misread that. I think I was talking about Pitbull, and then I thought for some reason I saw the Davids, and I thought maybe it was a typo for Tank Davis. So okay, I got you. You say you want them to run it back. Nah, I don't. You think Morrell was that competitive in the fight? Like, I don't think Benavidez was ever in danger of losing that fight. Like, if a fight's gonna get ran back, like, I think it has to be like something compelling, or maybe something in the fight that was like I don't feel like this was. I don't know, man. It doesn't trigger the things that I generally want to see when one gets ran back. Like, Beterbiev and Bivol, yeah, definitely got to run that back, unquestionably. You know what I mean? Like this one to me on a way lesser scale, because it wasn't as punishing as this. But like Earl Spence and Bud Crawford, I don't need to see that again. Like, I'm confident in who the better fighter was. Like, I'm confident Benavidez is just a better fighter than Morrell at this point, for sure. But Morrell also, it might have been a tad early for him, because he's very talented, but it still may have been a tad early for him. Man, I would love. Keyshawn Davis is my favorite out of all these like young fighters. So, well, there's like 2 classes of young fighter, right? So there's like the young established stars, let's say. So like the class of Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez. That crowd, Boots Ennis, he's a different class, but like, you know, a different weight class, but he's kind of in their class of fighters. So that there's that group, that kind of young group of stars. Then there's the next crop behind them. Keyshawn Davis is my favorite of that next crop behind them. And then like under or behind Keyshawn Davis, you know, there's guys coming up now, Abdullah Mason, Carmel Moulton, some of these younger, those are still prospects though. You know what I mean? Like, Keyshawn's going to fight, what's that kid's name? It's one of those Eastern European names, Dennis Berenichuk or something like that. He's going to fight him for the WBO at 140 coming up here pretty soon. So he should get his hands on the title. I would love to see Tank and Keyshawn, though. I would love that fight. I love that fight. Because Keyshawn Davis would be the fighter that they try to make us believe that Frank Martin was. Because Keyshawn's a real live dog, man. Yeah, I love me some Keyshawn. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. But dog, John Parr said he had an 8-4 Benavidez. Yeah, see, I ain't mad at that. Yeah, because honestly, like I had it 9-3, but that fourth round, I ended up giving it to Benavidez. But I guess the highlight of the round, so to say, was like in the last 30 seconds, Benavidez has Morrell cornered, and he gets caught throwing. I think they trade. Yeah, Morrell catches him with a short straight right, coming off the ropes on the inside, and catches Benavidez, who was going for, I think, his own right. I don't know if he was throwing a hook, but Morrell got there first and put it right on the chin and stunned him for a second. He definitely stunned him. But then the thing about Benavidez, because I think there was like 40, let's say it was close to like 40 seconds left in the round. Benavidez got right back on him. You know what I mean? Like, you could tell like he felt it, but he was like, oh, no, okay. It's like, it almost like it just turned him up a little bit. And the same thing with the knockdown in the 11th. Now, for one, if y'all watched the fight, John, did you see the knockdown? Or I know you watched the fight. What are your thoughts on that knockdown, man? What are your thoughts on the knockdown? Because, like, when it happened, like, I definitely thought Benavidez looked like off balance or something. And honestly, they didn't even really show good replays of it, or at least in the TV copy I was watching. Like, I feel like, because that's the same round that we had the point deduction, and so the delay after the round, you know what I'm saying, he got everybody out the ring, brought Morrell to the center, deducted the point, and then that was the talking point kind of going into the corners, and then, like, we watched replays of that. So I don't even think they showed, like, a good replay right there in the moment of the knockdown, but it looked to me, he looked just more off balance than anything, and then you could tell he was way more embarrassed than he was hurt, because he definitely made a point to try to go get that back in blood. You know what I mean? He tried to go get that back and pressed him, got him up against the ropes, and started letting his hands go. And it's the 10-second mark in that 11th round. And so now here's the thing as well. Tell me what you thought about that knockdown, if you thought it was valid or not. And then also the point deduction. How do you feel? So Benavidez definitely got a shot off late. But it's one of those things where, like, okay, I'm going to make a football reference. I can't help myself. When you hit a guy late who's out of bounds, do you hit him as he crosses the out of bound line? Like, does his toe graze the out of bound? Like, is he on the line when you hit him? Or is he a yard out of bounds when you hit him? Benavidez hit him late, but he was right there on the line. He had just stepped on the line. So it's late, and it probably would have warranted a stern warning. Like, hey, bro, chill out. Hey, man, chill. I know you're feeling away. Yeah, we gave you the knockdown. You pissed off. All right, chill. It's a hard warning. It would have warranted a hard warning, in my opinion. But then Morrell, who got hit, was like, man, hell no. And threw a shot back. It was a solid shot, too. It was a solid, that right that he got him with was solid. But at this point, now we're a full yard out of bounds. You know what I mean? Like, Benavidez was late, but it was, I hate to say it, and I don't want to excuse it, but for lack of better explanation, let's say it was acceptable late. It wasn't egregious late. Morrell's was egregious late. And it was a very solid blow as well. Like, it's one thing if it had been like a half slap, like, nah, he turned it over. He put real leather on his chin. He turned that over, boy. That was a solid shot. You know what I mean? So it was. I still didn't like that he took the point. But, I like that referee. I can't think of his name. I like him as a referee when I see him in fights. So I like him as a referee for sure. So I'm not even speaking too harshly against him. But he took the point. Okay, maybe I wouldn't have necessarily did that. But okay. But it was there was definitely a couple fireworks in that fight, man. And then that 12th round, Benavidez definitely had it on his mind. The knockdown and the late shot, because he came out and he pressed him. I mean, he didn't coast at all. They both went all out, man. So that's one thing I really liked about the fight. Both fighters went all out to the final bell, man. Both fighters went all out to the final bell. Hey, Champy back in the building, man. What's up, man? Hey, man, it's been a minute for you, big dog. I don't think I see your name here in a minute, bro. He said he whooped him, bro. I boxed him. Yeah, and I feel the same way. Like I said, I had it 9-3. The score looks a little weird. My score was 116-110, but I had it 9-3 for Benavidez. And so I think for those first 4 rounds, I think those were the most, I guess, like competitive. I think of those first 4, I had it 3-1, but it could have been 2-2. It could have been 2-2, but I had it 3-1. And then from that 5th round on, like I think Benavidez just really settled in, and just the constant stalking, relentless. Like, I mean, he just stalked him. He just stalked him, and he just relentlessly stalked him, and just consistently threw heavy thudding shots up and downstairs just all night long, breaking through that guard. You know what I mean? Those punches started getting by the glove. You know what I'm saying? Getting under his elbow, getting to the body, getting to the chin. You know what I mean? So I mean, he started landing some solid shots for sure. And then Morrell would he moved well. He would have these flashes where he really let his hands go, but it never really felt like, outside of that short right hand in the 4th round. And then, I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like I can count on one hand how many like true to life, real solid shots got through cleanly at that on Benavidez, versus Benavidez constant relentless stalking and consistently landing just thumping shots just all night. But nah. Hey, no, and matter of fact, I'm glad you brought me back to it, because that's what I was gonna say as well, man. So I was gonna say, what y'all think about that knockdown? The knockdown, yeah, I didn't agree as well. Like, he looked off balance, and then now that I've got to see like good, clean replays of it, yeah, it was a bad call. And then here's the thing as well, the referee wasn't sure. So you see in the ring, he I think he gives him a count to 4, and then he pauses, he looks back to the scoring official, and he's like, hey, is this clean, or what we doing? Knockdown or not? And they said they reviewed it and confirmed it as a knockdown. That is a bad review, bad call, because their feet got tangled up. So Benavidez overextends. He gets his left leg outside the right ankle of Morrell. Morrell throws a right hook. And honestly, Benavidez, he gets his left arm up. Where's my camera at? He gets his left arm up to block it, but the momentum from Morrell's shot, it catches him on like the shoulder, almost on the back. And he I don't think he did it intentionally, but he pushes him over his ankle. Like, his right leg was inside of his right leg was inside of Benavidez's left. And so he throws a wide shot, and the shot kind of hits him on the back of the shoulder and carries over. And now Benavidez gets pushed over his ankle. He gets tripped. You know what I mean? And then he stumbles and has to put his hands on the mat to keep himself from just stumbling and falling down. So I agree. I thought it was a bad knockdown, but I don't think it was intentional. I don't think it was nothing. You know, sometimes you'll see guys try to one up or try to, you know what I'm saying, get something off. I don't even think it was that. I think it was a legitimate slip. And then I don't know how the folks reviewed it and confirmed it as a knockdown. So that's Benavidez's second official knockdown of his career, if I'm not mistaken. No, he definitely held his ground. I don't know if he hurt him. I stunned him. No, that 4th round shot definitely stunned him, for sure. It definitely did. Are you counting the second time as the knockdown? Because there was another time, I want to say in the 10th round, I think he stunned Benavidez again. I gave him the 10th round. I gave him the 3rd round. I gave him the 10th round. And the 4th round for me was a swing round. I could have given that. I can see the argument to give him that 4th. But for me, I still feel like Benavidez, I think he did more consistent damage for the bulk of that round. And then, yeah, Morrell landed the biggest single shot in that round. And it definitely stunned Benavidez. But he couldn't capitalize. Benavidez got right back on him. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, but I can see the argument if the most significant punch or moment in that round was the shot from Morrell in the 4th. So I can see the argument there. But I gave him the 3rd and the 10th. And then some of these rounds were razor thin, though. Some of these rounds were, a couple of these, I don't want to say a lot of them. Some of these rounds were close, but I just never felt that Morrell did enough work throughout the entirety of the round. Like, there were moments, especially in the first half of the fight, where he did have like explosive flashes and where he actually got Benavidez on the back foot a little bit. Benavidez back touched the ropes a couple times in this fight, right? And so we see Morrell in those moments like unleash like 6, 8, just a flurry of punches, just letting them go. But honestly, for me, not enough of them ever got through cleanly enough. Nothing of consequence ever really landed outside of those 2 times that I'm thinking of in round 4 and round 10. You know what I mean? So I think he definitely stunned him twice. And I do think he held his ground because, like, a lesser fighter would have been broken down. Definitely once we got into, like, round 10, those championship rounds, when we get to round 10, 11, 12. Like, once we start getting around in there, a lesser opponent probably would have been out of there. Because Benavidez was throwing heavy leather all night, man. Everything was heavy, it felt like to me. And like I said, the longer that fight went, man, he started getting under that elbow and he started getting around those gloves or punching through those gloves. And so he definitely started wearing on him a little bit. But Morrell never stopped competing in that fight. Like, at no point did he lay down in the fight for sure. So I agree with that for sure. He said he agreed with Champy. Are you agreeing with him on the knockdown? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, push the shoulder. Yeah. So I'm assuming you're talking about him agreeing there. Let's see. Pickens 14 S Productions. That's what you were saying. Hey, what's up, man? Hey, hold on, man. That's another new name, man. Where you from, bro? I ain't seen your name, man. Welcome, bro. Welcome. Pickens 114S. Pickens S. Okay, so I assume you're a Steelers fan. You know what I'm saying? I assume that's a shout out to George Pickens. And if that's the case, then you're in the right place, boy. You're in the right place. Hey, welcome. You know what I'm saying? You one of them members. You know what I'm saying? If you part of that nation, you feel me? Still a nation. Y'all know it's big nation business in the building. Oh, you in the right place, my boy. Yeah, welcome. Hey, welcome home. Welcome home, playboy. Where you from, man? Let me know. Let me know. Chevy said it was definitely a push, and then Benavidez slipped. Yeah, for sure. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I was like, where's the replay of that? Like, why didn't we get the replay? You know what I mean? Like, why? They definitely delayed that damn replay. Because then, like, to close the round, Benavidez is pissed off, so he gets right on his ass. And so, you know, they trading shots right up against the ropes, the 10-second clock, you know what I'm saying? We get the little thing. Benavidez did let one go a little late. He did. But he got his off right at the, you know what I'm saying? Like, right, the echo of the whistle. You know what I mean? Like, the bell hit, and then he got an extra one off because he's pissed off. You know what I mean? And then Morrell, you know what I'm saying? Morrell countered and responded. And then they let that be the talking point of that round 11 break, as opposed to going back and really investigating that knockdown. Oh, Thomas Taylor, that's the referee's name? Thomas Taylor. And honestly, I like him as a ref, though. I do. I like him. I do. I like him, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I didn't necessarily, I don't hate that he took that point from Morrell. Because it was egregious late. Like, Benavidez's shot that he got off was late, but Morrell's was egregious late. And it was a solid shot. Like I said, he turned it over. You know what I'm saying? He turned it over, boy. It was real leather on that shot. So it was a legitimate shot, man. So I don't hate that he took a point, but if he wouldn't have took a point and gave both sides a very stern warning, I'd have been okay with that as well. But I like him. He's probably one of my favorite referees for sure. Said Tim Cheatham need to be investigated. What'd he say? D2 Kumo guy. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure what you mean, homeboy. Okay. Okay, Steelers fan for sure. From Pittsburgh, okay. He said he's the D1 Kumo guy. I don't know what that means, homeboy. I don't know what that means. Matter of fact, see, my dog Keandre ain't in the building this morning. I should have had this chat already up, man. But hey, man, I'm glad you find the channel, big dog. You said Thomas Taylor on drugs. The ref, hey, man, I like him. Like I said, I mean, the point, I don't know, man. Because it was super, I mean, it was. Like, he was probably going to warn Benavidez or say something to Benavidez about it. But then Morrell gave his back, and it was like, man, it was solid, bro. It was solid. And it was just past, like, he already got between them now. Like, yeah, he got that off. I'm going to talk to him. And then you still let one go. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I guess he wanted to feel like, make sure he knows, like, hey, I'm not mad at a ref that, like, sometimes the refs get bullied in the fights. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it can feel like that. But I like him as a ref, generally speaking, for sure. But But good fight. Like I said, I wasn't disappointed in the fight at all. Like I said, that's my score. The way the score shaped up, I end up giving that fourth round to Benavidez still, even though Morrell did land probably the single most consequential shot of that round, but I still gave the round to Benavidez. I thought round 5 was another very close, tightly contested round. I still gave the edge to Benavidez. And then honestly, from round 5 through 9, all those for me were Benavidez. Some of those were closer than others, but I really felt like Benavidez settled in. Like once we got to that point of the round, that point of the fight, and then I gave round 10 to Morrell. And I think if that's what my dog John Parham was talking about, man, I think that's the second time that I feel like he kind of stunned Benavidez or landed a solid enough shot to stun Benavidez. Benavidez also in that round. I think that might have been the round where he did like the Ali shuffle or something. So he kind of coasted that round, and Morrell had a flashy like 6 or 7 punch, you know what I'm saying, like combo or whatever the case. But yeah, I don't know. But moving on, man. So there's definitely a lot more boxing news to talk about for sure. Now here's another one, man. How do y'all feel about this fight? Canelo and Bud Crawford being confirmed for September. How do y'all feel, man? How do y'all feel about this? So, of course, like once this fight gets closer or near, you know, then we'll probably run it back and we'll like do like a deeper dive into it. But it is official, and I'm excited for this fight. I want to see the fight. I do. Like, I definitely want to see the fight. Whenever it talks about Canelo, maybe being in the works to fight Spence, like right around the time where he ended up fighting Charlo, fighting Little Charlo, or the smaller of the Charlos. But the talk around that time was him and Earl. If Earl gets past Bud, it's gonna be Canelo and Earl. And so that of course fell through because Bud beat the brakes off of Earl Spence. When Bud did that was out the works. But I don't know, man. I like it. I like this fight. I want to see it. I'm entertained by it. I am. Realistically, I mean, when Crawford made his first debut at 54, I wasn't as upset with his performance as I guess maybe a lot of the public was. Because for one, it's his first time in the new space, in that new weight. You know what I mean? So there is going to be an adjustment. And the guy he fought wasn't a slouch. Boychuk wasn't a slouch. Was that Boychuk or man, y'all have to forgive me if I said the wrong guy. But that first fight at 54 for Bud, like I said, man, the guy was awkward, and so it wasn't. I don't know. I think Bud handled himself well, showed that he could still adjust to just about any style. You know what I mean? No matter how awkward, and I still think he did a lot of good work in that. I think the commentary in that was some of the worst commentary I've ever heard between Sergio Martinez and that other guy for the zone. I mean, it was god awful. My God, it couldn't have been more biased. But be that as it may, man, I want to see it. I definitely want to see it. I'm interested to see because I don't know, man. I can't go as far as to say like I'm cheering for Bud to win. I can't tell you I bet the rent money on Bud to win though. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you I bet my mama's rent money on Bud, but I'm cheering for Bud to win definitely. 68, man, that's a different world, man. That's a different world. Canelo is a very compact. He's very dense. He's a tank. You know what I mean? He took some mean shots from Triple G right on the chin and didn't blink. You know what I mean? So I don't see Bud being able to hurt Canelo at all. And so this is going to be, can Bud, for one, does he last to the second half of the fight? And I don't mean that in any way, form, or disrespect, because I fully expect him to. But Canelo definitely wears down in the second half of fights, for sure. That's no secret. So how does Bud look going into that second half of the fight? And then also, like, is there anything that he's done to, I guess, keep Canelo off balance or keep some style of respect from Canelo the way that we were able to see Floyd do in their fight all those years ago, 10 plus years ago now? You know what I mean? That stabbing jab to the body. You know what I mean? Like, just being too slick. Canelo just can't find him at all. Sharp counters. You know what I mean? And so there's an avenue for Bud to win this fight for sure if he's able to just effectively outbox him. And I don't think that's out the realm of possibility, man. I really don't. I really don't. But it's one of those things where like Bud's gonna have to be perfect. Like Bud's got to show up with his A+ game. This can't be. It's got to be another night like when he fought Earl Spence. He's firing at 100%. He's 100% full go, and he's he's at his very best, and that's what it's gonna take to get this done. If he can get it done, that's still a tall order, but I like it, man. There's an avenue for it. Seeing that old Canelo fight, that Bivol fight. Now Bivol being a much bigger guy than even Canelo, and especially height wise, Bivol's like 6'1". You know what I mean? Canelo's 5'8", maybe 5'8" with his boots on. You know what I mean? So the size advantage aside, but Bivol was able to just dictate distance, kept pumping that. I mean, so there's things that can be done. Crawford doesn't have that style of height, but Crawford has tremendous reach. Crawford's 5'8", I want to say. He's like 5'8" and change. His reach is like 6'2". He's got super long arms. You know what I mean? So Crawford's reach may be on par with the reach of Bivol. You know what I mean? So if he's able to like maintain that distance and really outbox a man from the outside and really pick his spots when he, you know what I mean, wants to try to throw some real leather, I mean, there's an avenue that he can win this fight in my mind. I really do think so. I really do think so, man. I really do think so. But I don't know, man. I'm super excited for that. Fight's not happening until September. So in between time, I think Canelo's got to have a defense against William Scroll, whoever that is. He's got to satisfy a title defense, and he's going to do that in May. You know, he fights twice a year, May and September, the biggest Mexican holidays. So he'll fight that guy in May. There's talks that Bud is also likely to have some style of stay busy fight, around that same time before the massive fight, that massive showdown in September. Man, I can't wait. I can't wait to see that, man. I really can't wait to see that. And so this has a chance to be like one of the greatest all-time kind of like upsets. Like when Duran fought Leonard. We forget Duran came up 2 weight classes. When Leonard was welterweight champion of the world at 47, Duran was a lightweight. Duran was a lightweight that went and fought Sugar Ray. You know what I'm saying? He went up 2 classes and won that first one. You know what I mean? Whatever context we want to apply to it, he won. Shit, he beat his ass. Now, Leonard, being a smart, savvy businessman and intelligent fighter that he is, ran it right back and, you know what I'm saying, and got the victory. But still, that was Duran going up 2 classes to fight the welterweight champ. So these type of things that we have seen them. You know, we've seen them over time. And so it's not it's not new in that fashion, but it's not too often that we see it, especially these days and with these caliber of fighters. 2 of the top 5 fighters in the world, pound for pound, on most everybody's list. Most anybody could make the argument or would argue or would probably agree that these are 2 of the top 5 fighters in the world. So, man, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. Now, what we got next, man? Tank and Shakur. So I know we kind of grazed Tank a little earlier when we were talking about the Pitbull fight, and then whether or not, like, I think somebody mentioned him fighting Keyshawn Davis. I love that. I love the thought of that. I love the thought of that. If for like entertainment wise and watching the fight, I would rather see Tank and Keyshawn as opposed to Tank and Shakur. You know what I mean? Just as far as like how I imagine, like the stylistically. That's what I should say. Stylistically. Like I think Tank and Keyshawn will be a more entertaining fight, whereas Tank and Shakur is going to be much more of a cerebral fight. I want to see that one too. I still want to see it too. But both those guys have fights coming up, of course, not against each other. Tank Davis fighting Lamont Roach March 1st. Shakur got his fight coming up here in 3 weeks against Floyd Schofield Jr. It's going to be on that Bivol, Beterbiev rematch card in Riyadh. So can't wait to see those. I want to see how they look in these fights. For one, I want to see. I guess I'm more excited to see. Well, maybe excited is too strong for either of these fights, but I do want to see just what both of these guys look like in these fights they're going through. I expect the Tank and Roach fight to go probably follow like a similar pacing to that Frank Martin fight, where Tank he's very conservative, definitely to start the fights, and he's really just picking his spots. Like he's become a very precise marksman, and he really picks his spots and he really picks his spots and his timing of when to actually get you out of there. And I think this fight's probably going to go much the same. I definitely expect Tank to stop Roach, and honestly, I would think it's probably going to be similar timing wise to that Frank Martin fight. Frank got stopped in the 8th round or so, I want to say. And so I would think this Tank fight with Roach probably goes around the same time. I was going to say 10 at the most. I don't know if it goes that long. But let's say between somewhere around 8 to 10, I would think Tank's going to get the stoppage there. Then Shakur and Schofield, I definitely expect Shakur to win this fight for sure. But I want to see how he wins it. You know what I mean? Because like, winning the fight isn't Shakur Stevenson's problem, or not at all his biggest critique, but it's how he wins these fights. I have no doubts he can fully go out there and just not get touched for 12 rounds and win this fight 10-2. You know what I mean? I don't doubt that at all. But I want to see him in the kitchen a little bit. I want to see him in the kitchen and mix it up a little bit. And make it more of an entertaining fight. And I think Shakur, regardless of what he says about not worrying about the noise, it bothers him. And so I think he's got something to prove as well to himself, if to nobody else. But yeah, man, I want to see how he looks when he wins this fight. I want to see him get in there and mix up a little bit. I don't necessarily expect him to stop him. Like Shakur just hasn't shown to have that style of just stopping power. You know what I mean? But I want to see him win. Like, I want there to be some decisiveness in the victory as far as, like, damage. Like, I want to see that he actually put paws on dude. And Shakur can do that. Shakur beat the hell out of Oscar Valdez. If y'all seen that fight, Shakur beat the shit out of Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez was a two-time... He's a champion again at lightweight. Or junior light. Is he at 130? Yeah. He's a champion again. And he had been the champ at 130 for, I want to say, like a few years. You know what I'm saying? Shakur went out there, completely outclassed him. He couldn't touch him. And he put real paws on him. You know what I mean? Like the Shakur that beat the sleeves off of Jamel Herring. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the guy I want to see. I want to see that in this Schofield fight, man. I want to see that in this Schofield fight for sure. Hold on, man. I see somebody back in the comments. What we talking about? My dog, John Parham, man, says he's taking Canelo to win by decision. Yeah. I think that's definitely where the smart money is for sure. Canelo, I don't think he stops him. I just can't imagine Bud getting stopped. I love Bud's probably my favorite fighter right now for sure. My favorite of the young guys is definitely Keyshawn Davis. But I just can't imagine somebody stopping Bud, man. And I can't see Bud like covering up and just running like Charlo did. So like Bud's gonna be there to fight. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna do whatever he can to fight. And I think he will see the final bell. So Canelo by decision is probably the smart money. But I'm not gonna lie, man. It's not a 50-50 fight. This Canelo and Bud fight, it's definitely not a 50-50 fight. I don't think that's like a genuine sentiment going up. Because let's not forget, Bud's not even a true welterweight. Welterweight was Bud's second class. I think Bud may have started in his infancy. Maybe he's at 35, but he spent the bulk of his early career at 40. Then he went up to 47. Then he touched his toes in the water at 54. And so it's two weight classes, technically going from 54 to 68. But it's 4 classes for Bud. You know what I mean? Bud Bud at his athletic prime is a 140-pound fighter. You know what I mean? He's a 140-pound fighter. He's one of 4 classes to 68, essentially. You know what I mean? So that's a tall order. But I do think there's an avenue that Bud can win this fight, man. It's got to be a combination of like maintaining the distance that we saw, like dictating distance that we saw Bivol was able to do, and then pulling from what Floyd did, what Mayweather did, as far as piercing jab to the body, keep him off of you, and also being slick, supreme head movement, making them miss, and then when you make them miss, make them pay. You know what I mean? Sharp counters. Floyd never hurt Canelo once in that fight, but still, just he couldn't get touched, and he made him pay for those misses. You know what I mean? So like, there's an app, and Bud has the talent and the arm length to pull from both those 2 fights that we've seen Canelo have trouble with. But now, can you do it? Can you put it together? Can you do it and do it all at a high level on that night? I mean, it's a tall order. John said he agrees, man, that Keyshawn Davis versus Tank is probably going to be more entertaining than the Shakur fight. Yeah, man, I would love to see that. I love these Keyshawn Davis, dog. I really do. Ooh. Keyshawn and Ryan, okay. Oh, that'd be wild. Yeah, that'd be wild. I'm ready. I need Keyshawn to have just any big fight at all, because he's definitely going to be like, he's going to be fired up. Like, watching Tank Davis punk Frank Martin at all those press conferences, like, that's why, like, going in that fight, like, I didn't like that fight when it was announced. Like, I'd much rather like the thought of Frank Martin versus Shakur Stevenson. Like, that, I think, was a much more balanced matchup. Shakur was still outclassed him, but it was still, like, without Frank having that, without having that threat of Tank just, you know what I'm saying, just ending it in one shot like it happened. You know what I mean? Like, I think that was a much more, like, would have been a much more competitive fight. You know what I mean? Still a fight that Shakur wins. I think Shakur just outclasses him for sure. But yeah, I think it's a better showing just by and large from Frank. And not to say that Frank looked terrible in that Tank fight. Honestly, Frank did a lot of great work in that Tank fight. You know what I mean? He really did. He really did. But nah, man, watching Tank punk Frank, God, watching Tank punk Frank in those press conferences told me everything I need to know about that fight. Keyshawn Davis ain't going, man. Keyshawn Davis ain't going for none of that. Keyshawn Davis is running towards all that smoke. I would love to see Tank try to punk Keyshawn Davis. Hell no. Impossible. It won't happen. He might win that fight. He's not at all going to scare Keyshawn Davis in the slightest. John said he's taking Tank in 8 against Roach. Yeah, I think the same. I think, yeah, similar to that Frank Martin fight. I think once we get into that, like right around round 8 or 9, I would think he gets him out of there. I think at worst case, this fight goes 10 rounds. But I think 8 to 10 is that sweet spot. But yeah, I think 8's a good call. He said he said round 8, 9 max. Yeah, I don't disagree at all. Reed Roof in the building, man. What's going on? That's another new name, man. Where you from, bro? Where you from? And tell me what you thought about that Benavidez and Morrell fight. If you scored it, give me a score. Also, if you watched that fight as well, tell me what you thought about that knockdown and the point deduction, man. Those are the 2 biggest talking points of that fight for sure. For sure. Let me see. What else we got going on, man? What else we got going on? Oh, now here's a thing as well. And I guess we should, before we get into that, where's it at? Yeah. So Beterbiev and Bivol, their rematch is coming up in 3 weeks now. And so Shakur is going to be fighting on that undercard in Riyadh. So, yeah, I can't wait to see that. That's going to be a good fight. How would y'all feel about the first one? If y'all watched the first one, the first Beterbiev and Bivol fight, how'd y'all feel? How'd y'all feel about it, man? I had it a draw. I had it a draw myself. And I'm not trying to punk out. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to sit on the fence. I legitimately had it a draw. And I think it was a draw because I think Beterbiev closed that fight stronger. I think Beterbiev definitely won round 12. and I want to say maybe both championship rounds. I want to say maybe I'm trying to remember. If I can find my score, I'll pull it up. But I want to say I had it. I think I was leaning Bivol going into that fight. Honestly, I was. So if there's any type of potential bias there, let me say it. I had picked Bivol to win the fight. I picked Bivol to win the fight, but I thought it would be a damn close fight. And I think that was a good ass fight. That was a very good, high level, technical, entertaining fight. Like maybe more casual fans wouldn't have been as entertained by the fight. I was very entertained and impressed with that fight and both fighters for sure. These are two guys. These are definitely two guys at the top of the sport. You know what I mean? Like it was high level, tactical, very, very entertaining boxing, man. That's high level boxing. I loved it. I thought it was a draw. Bivol ends up getting the decision for sure. I want to say, if I remember right, I think one of the cards in that one was wild. I think one of the cards in that one was very wide. I think one of those cards was like 9-3, and that's a damn shame. That's criminal. I think one of those cards was like 9-3, and I was like, there's no way in hell that it was any great separation in the fight as far as the scoring should have went. Not in my opinion, but that's a damn good fight. Now, on the hey Reed, you ain't like the fight? Come on, hey Reed, say he from Philly. What's going on, man? Also, you a Boots fan? We gonna talk about Boots too then. We gonna definitely talk about Boots as well. He said the fight was ass, bro. You tripping, dog? Come on, man. Do you enjoy boxing or do you enjoy knockouts? Answer me that. Answer me that. Reed. Hey, hold on. Everybody chill. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. We ain't banging in the chat. That's all right. Let's punch above the belt. But let's talk about it though. So you gotta ask yourself, because like when I see comments like that, and it's not just you, Reed. It's not just Reed. It's people feel that way. And so it depends, like what do you enjoy about the sport? You want to see somebody get cracked? You want to see somebody get dropped? Or, you know what I'm saying? Or do you enjoy just like pure technical boxing? Because if you're not necessarily a fan of pure technical boxing, then yeah, it might have been a little not as exciting. And so I respect that, because I respect that. So there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Like Mike Tyson and Pernell Whitaker are two of the most exciting fighters that I've ever watched fight. One of them dropped dudes one of them was knocking people's heads off, and one of them was entertaining because you couldn't touch him, and he was slick. So like there's two sides of boxing. So there's nothing wrong with preferring Tyson to Sweet Pea Whitaker. There's nothing wrong with that. So I respect it. Hey, I feel that, bro. I came here to see somebody get dropped. I feel it. So I ain't mad at it at all, man. I ain't mad at that at all. Like I said, I respect it. Now, here's the thing as well. The winner of that fight, so this fight was an eliminator. The Morrell and Benavidez fight was an eliminator of sorts. So the winner of that fight is going to be the mandatory for, I don't know if it was the WBA. One or two of the titles held by Beterbiev and Bivol. So the winner of that fight will be the mandatory, or Benavidez will be the mandatory for the winner of this Beterbiev and Bivol rematch. And so, what are y'all thoughts there? Because I'll tell you, I love me. I really am I'm a big fan of David Benavidez. All right. On my own pound for pound, David Benavidez has been in my own personal pound for pound top 10 for probably like the last 3 years. And he's not in most people's pound for pound list. Mine's my own. I'm due to update it. Honestly, I probably need to update it. I haven't updated it in a while, but I probably need to update it. But he would still be in there for me. You know what I mean? But so I love me some David Benavidez. I really enjoy him as a fighter. I don't think I like his chances against either Beterbiev or Bivol. I really don't, man. I think against Beterbiev, he's given up the edge in power, probably for the first time in his career. He's always been the bigger, stronger, stalking fighter. I don't see that against him and Beterbiev. Beterbiev is stronger. He's just as durable. You know what I mean? And Beterbiev is stronger, man. So I don't like it there. And then against Bivol, Bivol is just as big. You know what I mean? Because I think Bivol's 6'1", 6'2". You know what I mean? He's got good reach. And he's a fantastic pure boxer. You know what I mean? And so I don't necessarily like him in either of those two fights to win. Now I definitely think both in either of those fights would be entertaining for sure. But hey, pick his 14. Now you gotta chill, man. You gotta chill. Everybody's welcome, man. You gotta chill, man. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, that's what I was just talking about, dog. Some people are fan of there's nothing wrong with being a fan of Mike Tyson, and there's nothing wrong with being a fan of Sweet Pea, Pernell Whitaker. You know what I'm saying? There's different styles of fights. Like how many? I assume Pickens would say, "Were you a Floyd Mayweather fan?" Floyd wasn't knocking nobody out. Those fights were boring. The Money Mayweather era was a lot of expensive, money-making, boring fights. Those fights were boring as hell. You know what I mean? The storyline leading up to the fight was better than the fights. All those fights. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, it's okay to be a fan of boxing and prefer knockouts, bro. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But but getting back to this, honestly, man, and I like Benavidez. I don't have a problem with his first fight at 75, especially like I think he was adjusting to the size. You know what I'm saying? His conditioning wasn't as strong. You know what I mean? In that first fight at 75 against man, I can't say his name. It starts with a G. One of those Eastern European names. I'm leave that alone. But I thought it was I thought that performance was okay. And that guy's not a slouch. He had been retired, newly retired or whatever, but he's no slouch. He went toe to toe with Beterbiev and didn't get dropped as a champion. You know what I'm saying? He's not a slouch. And then in this fight, I liked his performance against Morrell. I think he was in pretty much firm control for me for the majority of the fight. Morrell had a couple flash moments, you know what I mean? But by and large, Benavidez outclassed him. He just looked to be a level above. You know what I mean? So he's still talented, but I don't think I like him in either of those fights, man. As far as Beterbiev or Bivol, looking ahead to those two fights, if and when that happens. If and when that happens, I don't think I like him in either one of those. Reed said Mike Tyson needs to come back. All right, now you crazy. Now you tripping. Nah, hell no. He ain't rusty. He's old. He's old, man. Hell no. He's damn near 60. We seen him in the Jake Paul fight. Nah, man. And in that Jake Paul fight, I was worried. I know some people are feeling like he held back and this and that. Honestly, I don't think that's the case, man. I think, and looking at going into that fight, one of the things I talked about in that fight was Mike's gonna have two rounds of energy. Anything that he does of consequence is gonna happen in those first 2 rounds, man. Because Father Time is undefeated. Those are still 60-year-old legs. Mike still looks like a bull. He still looks like a tank. But man, hey, that's a lot to ask for. Mike had his time. I'm happy that Mike made $40 million in that fight, or 20 or 40 million, whatever it was. I'm happy he got a fat ass paycheck and a good turnout. And I'm glad that Jake Paul didn't push and try to hurt him or embarrass him. So I'm happy about all that. I don't need to see Mike Tyson ever again, man. His time has come and gone. He gave us everything he had to give. There we go. Yeah, he gave us everything he had to give, man. Let the old lion rest. It's time for some of these new guys to step up. It's time for some of these new guys to step up. And that's the thing. He said he didn't even try to fight. He's old, dog. He's old, man. Hey, man, it's a lot that goes into it. Even just standing, like if you've ever trained or did any type of training or sparring or boxing style of training or sparring, I should say, like, bruh, after a certain time, just holding your hands up is a workout. You know what I mean? So you got 8 or 10 or 12 or 16 ounce gloves on. You know what I mean? Like, dog, at a certain point, just standing and keeping your hands up, especially if you're across from someone, dog, it's a workout. Trying to punch is a workout after a certain time. Like, it's a lot, dog. Nah, he ain't got no more years left, dog. It's a 60-year-old man, bro. He's a 60-year-old man. Hell no, bro. You wilding right now. You tripping. You tripping right now, bro. No, sir. Let me see what else we had. Oh, here's another thing I want to talk about. We're going to do a little legacy talk, man. There's a lot of these young guys that are stars. We've got a lot of stars in boxing that think they're superstars, but they haven't done or accomplished anything. So I'm talking about this crop of fighters, right? Tank, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Shakur Stevenson, and Boots Ennis. These are the guys. All these guys are in their athletic primes, right? I think all these guys, the youngest of these guys is, I think, Devin Haney. He's 26. The oldest of these guys is Tank, and Tank turned 30 this year. Or Tank turned 30 last year. And so, for these guys, they haven't fought each other, or they haven't fought each other enough. Tank fought Ryan Garcia with, like, weight stipulations and all that stuff in there, so it made it hard to respect it. You know what I'm saying? Devin fought Ryan and then got publicly, you know what I'm saying, like, lambasted for doing it. Well, he took the fight. He fought him at least. Shit. Give him some credit. You know what I mean? Ryan, this is where I land. This is what I want to say. So we've got guys that carry themselves and try to model themselves after like, let's say, like Floyd Mayweather. Because this is the era that watched Floyd. This is the era that came up under Floyd. And so now that's the model and example that's been set. And that's what a lot of these guys are going for, carrying themselves that way. But they forget, and I'm not the first to say this. It's been said 1,000 times, so maybe it's being a dead horse, but I'm going to say it anyway. Like, these guys they want to handle their business like Money May without going through the journey of Pretty Boy Floyd. They want to just skip the money. No. Money was the fourth quarter. There was 3 quarters of Pretty Boy Floyd. Pretty Boy who went and fought everybody. Everybody that would get in the ring with him. And gave boys work. You know what I mean? Pretty Boy that went and fought. Man, name them. Name them. Diego Corrales. Castillo. That Castillo fight a close-ass fight. Didn't run from it, ran it back. So when Shakur Stevenson has a tough fight against De Los Santos, and yeah, he was injured and you was out there, I'm not disagreeing. I don't doubt any of that. Why ain't you run that back? Because I saw Floyd running back with Castillo. I saw Floyd running back with Maidana. So, Shakur, why ain't you go get that one back, bruh? Go clean that dirt off your name, bruh. Because that's some dirt on your name. That's a terrible performance. That's an all-time terrible performance. And I'm a huge Shakur Stevenson fan. But you should have went and handled your business, man. You should have went and cleaned that up. I don't have any doubts you still win. But you didn't clean it up. That's what I said. Like, these guys treat themselves. They want to be treated. They want to be respected. They want to be paid like Money May without doing the work that Pretty Boy put in. That's the problem. Tank. Like, why'd you run from Loma? Tank ran from Loma. He was young. He was like, man, bullshit. You were scared. And it's okay. It's all right. But you punked out. Because Teofimo Lopez 3 years younger than you. Tio was younger than you when you turned down that fight, when he beat him. When Teofimo Lopez, who's 3 years younger than Tank Davis, Tank's 30 right now, Tio's 27. Tank turned down that Lomachenko fight 5 years ago. I want to say it's 5 years ago. He was 25. Teofimo Lopez took that fight and beat him. He was 23. I want to say he was like 23. Forgive me. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. 22, 23. Younger than Tank was when he turned it down because he wasn't ready. Tank tried to say that Loma's picking on him because he's too young. Man, what? That's soft, man. That's weak. And then now Loma's a little older. Now you want to call him out and that fell through. If I'm Loma, man, I'm not worried about fighting you either, bro. I'm at the end of the road anyway. I'm at the end of the road anyway, so I'm not mad about that. And then I look at these guys' resumes, like Ryan Garcia. If not for this Devin Haney victory that was ruled a no contest, and we didn't even talk about that. I don't know how y'all felt about that, but he's probably the most overinflated fighter or star out of all these guys. I try to what's Ryan Garcia's resume? The weight drain loss against Tank. Not to say I would pick him to beat Tank anyway, but Tank, he signed up for it, got a big payday. His first premium opponent was Tank Davis, and then Tank, flexed his ability, you know what I'm saying? Drained him, rehydration, and then, because he was scared. Tank admitted, he said he was worried about it. Like, man, I done seen Ryan Garcia knock hella dudes out in the gym. He was nervous. He was scared about it. He still fought him, but I don't know, man. But then, so we got an L to Tank, and then the Devin Haney fight. And that's it. That's it. Superstar in boxing right now. Probably the most popular fighter ever, or of all these guys, by just pure pop culture standards, right? And then, let's say, going back to Shakur. Shakur's had some pretty solid opponents. Jamel Herring was a very solid opponent, a champion, worked him. The Oscar Valdez fight that he dominated, Oscar Valdez was a legitimate champion. Like I said, Oscar Valdez is a champion again. You know what I mean? So he went and got that belt back. But he's a legitimate guy. Completely outclassed, dominated. The Shakur Oscar Valdez fight was probably pretty similar in dominance to Floyd and Canelo. That's how one-sided it was. Except Shakur actually hurt Oscar Valdez a little bit. He roughed him up. Look at Oscar Valdez's face post-fight. Well, he got touched up in that fight and couldn't sniff Shakur. Fantastic fight. And then Robson Conceição. He's a talented fighter as well. So Shakur's he's had some impressive wins in my book. I think those are very strong wins. Then he's also had a couple duds. The De Los Santos fight, utter dud. You know what I'm saying? And then, like I said, the fight falling through with Frank Martin, I really wanted that Frank Martin fight for Shakur. You know what I mean? I really wanted that fight for Shakur. Then, of course, him and Tank likely to probably never fight. I don't think Tank's gonna fight him. I just don't. And so, but then that's Shakur. Turning down that Devin Haney fight. That's what I want to say. Shakur played himself. Turning down that Devin Haney fight. Because you want to be paid like money made. No. Learn from Pretty Boy. Don't be money. Floyd Mayweather fought Oscar De La Hoya. I think that split was like 90-10. You know what I mean? So, he should have took that Devin Haney fight. Instead, he let Devin Haney go lose in the eye of public perception to Ryan Garcia. Like, he should have took that fight. He played himself. He overvalued himself and he played himself. Then you don't take that fight and then you give us the dud against De Los Santos. And now we're watching you fight Schofield. You know what I mean? So I didn't like that. And then now talking about Tank. Tank's 30 years old. And I don't know if he's ever been... I don't know, man. He's found a way to... And you know what drives his popularity? Because he hits the long ball, man. Hits home runs. He's a home run hitter. You know what I mean? Mark McGwire wasn't the player that Barry Bonds was. Sammy Sosa wasn't the player that Ken Griffey Jr. was. You know what I mean? They can hit the ball just as far. Can't do nothing else they can do, but they can hit the ball just as hard. You know what I mean? And that's what Tank is doing. Tank is, he just leaves me wanting, man. Like, what's the most impressive wins on Tank's record? I see a lot of inflated opponents. Tank has really followed this Canelo model to a T without having to do any of the kind of heavy lifting that even Canelo did. Like fighting inflated opponents, Rolly Romero, Frank Martin. Why were they even in the ring with Tank Davis? Lambs to the slaughter. Inflated stuffed animal balloons. Lambs to the slaughter. Guys teed up to talk enough noise and get dropped. You know what I mean? the Ryan Garcia fight, it doesn't feel as strong on his resume because for one, well, Ryan ain't fought no damn body, and for two, you drained him. And then when they were talking about doing a rematch a little bit ago, he was talking about like, man, I'll fight him at 40. I'm not scared of him. Like, man, if you weren't scared, you should have fought him at 40 the first time. If that's the case, don't tell me you'll fight him at 40 now. You didn't fight him at 40 then. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, but the Ryan Garcia fight, whatever. That Pitbull Cruz fight, he broke his hand, yeah, and Pitbull made him work for it because, you know, Pitbull's that's what he is. He's a Pitbull. But in every fight I've seen Pitbull since then, he's a barroom brawler. It's entertaining, but he's not a premium opponent. He's not. He's not. So that doesn't wow me. I'm looking here. Mario Barrios, who drained himself to stick around for that payday fight, went to 47 right after that. Probably already should have been at 47, but had a chance to make some money and stay at 40 or whatever that weight they agreed to when he fought him. And then what? Leo Santa Cruz. Leo Santa Cruz is a talented fighter. That's one of my favorite fights from Tank for sure. And then Jose Pedraza. Both those fights. That Pedraza fight is almost 10 years ago. And I think Pedraza, when I really look at it, between Pedraza and Santa Cruz is most impressive victories. Pedraza was 9 years ago. Santa Cruz was 5 years ago. And the time since then, it's been Barrios, Rolly Romero, Frank Martin, Ryan Garcia, Pitbull Cruz, and now we're going to get Lamont Roach. So it's like, come on, man. And now you're 30. Like, hey, man, I don't know, man. I feel like these guys are, and now he's talking about retiring. It's like, well, what, and now, so that when I look at his resume, so now it makes me think about his legacy. And it's like, well, what did he really accomplish in the sport, man? Like, what did he really accomplish in the sport? TG1, what's up, man? And matter of fact, I don't think I seen you in here before. Where you from, homeboy? Where you from, man? See, Pitbull took that Tank fight with 2 weeks' notice. And you know, I'm glad you said that because I was thinking it was a short notice fight, but I can't remember who was supposed to fight, who he stepped in for. Was it 2 weeks? I don't know if it was 2 weeks. But who was he supposed to fight? Because I do vaguely remember that. But I can't remember who it was supposed to be in that Pitbull took the place of. Who was that supposed to be? Now somebody got to look it up for me. Somebody got to tell me, man, who was that supposed to be? But no, I do remember something about that though. Like I do, now that you say that, I think it was a short notice fight for Pitbull. I don't think it was 2 weeks though. Maybe it was like 2 months or like a month and a half. I don't think it was 2 weeks. Maybe like 9 weeks. Or something like that. But it still was a short notice fight. I think I do remember that as well. But then let me see who else. Now here's the guys that I was going to talk about next. Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney. These are probably the two like of the lesser popular guys from that group. They're definitely less popular than Tank and Ryan Garcia for sure. But they have way better resumes than both of them. And honestly, I would say Devin Haney's probably got the best resume out of all these young guys. So first let's do Teofimo. He's 27. He's 21-1, 13 KOs. That one lost to Kambosos. So he claimed to fame for sure when he beat Lomachenko. And he beat Lomachenko at the time when it was the best time to do it. When Lomachenko was sitting on top of the world, that's when Teofimo went out there and whooped his ass for 7 rounds. It was a clean sweep. The first 6 rounds were a clean sweep for Teofimo Lopez in that fight. And then I had to fight 7-5. Loma definitely turned up that second half of that fight for sure. If the fight goes 15 rounds, whatever. If was a fifth, all that good stuff. But it's not. It's a 12-round fight. So yeah, Loma definitely turned up or you know what I'm saying, found his groove that second half of the fight, but it was too little too late. Teofimo Lopez whooped his ass. He won that fight. He should have been undisputed champion. But the 4 belt agencies, they played him. Teofimo Lopez deserves to be an undisputed champion. The WBC stripped Lomachenko for fighting Teofimo Lopez instead of fighting his mandatory that was Devin Haney. And so, I hate that. Because here's the thing. I'm all for, like, Devin was calling for that Lomo fight for sure. Loma didn't want to fight him. Whatever. But I don't want to see a guy stripped when he's unifying. Because I think Teofimo Lopez was like the IBO or the IBF champion. He was either I want to say maybe he was the IBF champion. I'm going to say he was the IBF champion, right? And Loma had the other 3 belts. So he's going to unify for undisputed as opposed to fighting his mandatory, an unbelted mandatory, and Devin Haney, and they strip him. So now when Teofimo wins that fight, he's not recognized as undisputed. That's bullshit. And then here's another thing about T.O.'s resume. Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor's a damn good fighter. Josh Taylor was undisputed at 140. Teofimo beat Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor had relinquished the belt, either relinquished one or had one stripped or whatever the case, but he hadn't been beaten since becoming undisputed champ at 140. I'm talking about Josh Taylor. And then Teofimo Lopez beat Josh Taylor. Beat his head. I mean, he hit, like, clearly. You know what I mean? Josh Taylor's not a slouch. Josh Taylor's a damn good fighter. Was an undisputed fighter. Teofimo Lopez has an argument that he's been 2 times undisputed in 2 different weight classes. Much the same that we recognize Bud Crawford for at 40 and 47. Teofimo Lopez has an argument that he did it at 35 and 40. But the politics of boxing don't allow it. It's bullshit. So Teofimo Lopez, and then he also has a good win against Richard Comey. Beat the shit out of him. I mean, he dogged Richard Comey. I think he got Richard Comey out of there in like 3 rounds. 2-3 rounds. And so, and then now, of course, now he did take that L to Kambosos. Now that's Teofimo, and that's the other side. That's the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde effect of Teofimo Lopez. When he shows up and he's on task and on point, dangerous fighter, terrific fighter. Lomachenko and Josh Taylor are examples of that. But when he shows up, feeling himself, doesn't necessarily, maybe doesn't quite respect his opponent fully like he should, we get a George Kambosos performance. We get that last fight. Not getting his name, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. But when he shows up locked in, he'll give any of these dudes hell. And then now, lastly, Devin Haney, man, the least respected, most disrespected, and I think he's the guy with the best resume out of all these guys. He beat Lomachenko. I don't care what nobody says. I watched the fight. I scored it myself. He beat him. 7 rounds to 5. He beat him. Lomachenko, it was similar. Lomachenko got started late in that fight as well. Similar to that Teofimo fight. He got started late. And then I think the rounds that Lomachenko won, he won more decisively, but he didn't win enough rounds. There were too many rounds in which he just conceded, inactive, or majorly inactive. He got outworked. There were no knockdowns in that fight. Nothing extra to the fight that scored any different than what it was. Devin Haney won 7 rounds. You can say how he won them. Well, Lomachenko didn't do much or whatever. He didn't really hurt. So he won 7. He won 7 rounds. He beat Lomachenko. That was not a robbery in my book. He beat Lomachenko. Beating George Kambosos. Now, Kambosos, his claim to fame, of course, being Teofimo, but he beat the guy who beat the guy. The next fight after Lomachenko for Teofimo Lopez was a loss to Kambosos. Now, there was a lot going on with that fight. Delays, trying to get more money, neither fight, or Teo not being happy with the purse bids, etc., and all the things they did to try to make more money for that fight. And then when the fight finally happened, you went out there and got your ass beat. Teofimo Lopez he didn't respect him. He went out there and just tried to just run him down. Like, he just tried to just walk through him. He went out there determined to knock him out and just thought he was just going to overpower him and get him out of there. He didn't respect him. And you know what happened? He got dropped early. Kambosos was a live dog. Stood his ground, threw a great shot, put one on the chin, put him down in like the second round. Yeah, I want to say it was the second round. It was early in that fight for sure. I don't think it was the first round. I want to say it was the second round. And then honestly, for the rest of that fight, it felt like Teo was chasing that that knockdown. Pressing. Got himself clipped again in that fight pretty good. You know what I mean? And he lost that fight. Kambosos won that fight. He earned those titles. And then Devin Haney came and whooped his ass twice. Clean sweeps. Between those two fights, Devin Haney might have lost 2 rounds. And the way Devin Haney did it, I got respected. He went to Australia. Got paid pennies on the dollar. He did what Shakur Stevenson wasn't willing to do. Went to Australia, took pennies on the dollar, and completely dominated. Twice. So I respect it. So when he comes back to the States, after paying his dues, that's called paying your dues. He paid his dues. Now I'm the guy with the belt. It's my time to get paid. I'm the undisputed champion. Went to Australia, it took pennies on the dollars, and beat Kambosos twice in his crib. I beat Lomachenko. What'd you do, Shakur? Besides be talented, because talent ain't enough. So what'd you do? Impressive win versus Oscar Valdez. Impressive win versus Jamal Herring. Robinson can say that was a solid win. But no, this ain't you're not the guy here. I'm the guy here. Devin Haney, 75, they said it was 75-25 what they offered him. That's not disrespectful at all. 80-20, 75-20, whatever it was. It's not disrespectful at all. And it's a launching point. Negotiate. Why should that have been a 50-50 fight, Shakur? Why? No, you played yourself. So I'm not mad. Devin Haney moved on. You know what Devin Haney did after that? He moved up and fought a legitimate guy in Regis Prograis. And whooped Regis Prograis' ass. Whooped Regis Prograis' ass. You see what I'm saying? Regis Prograis wasn't no slouch. He was completely outclassed and outmatched. He hurt Regis in that fight. Honestly, if Devin Haney had a killer instinct in him, he could have. There were times in that fight. It looks like if he'd have pressed, he might have stopped Regis. Seriously, it looked like he could have stopped Regis if he wanted to, but he didn't. He played it safe. He played it smart. You know what I'm saying? He was fine. He was fine boxing his way to a win, to a clear, decisive victory and a win, and that's what he did. But he's got those 2 fights against Kambosos, beating Lomachenko, beating Regis Prograis, moving up a class and dominating Regis Prograis. Regis Prograis, you know who the only other loss Regis Prograis had in his career until that point? Josh Taylor, like 6 years before. And that Josh Taylor Prograis fight was a good ass fight if you never seen it. That was a damn good fight. It was a close fight and it was a good fight. That's the last guy to beat Regis Prograis. It was like 6 years before that. And Regis Prograis was a champion. Or had been a champion. I believe he was a champion. Dominated him. Really whooped his ass. And then he fought Ryan Garcia. He lost that fight. And honestly, he was chinny. And I don't know how it's inexcusable the way he lost. Getting dropped 3 times to a left hand. The left hand that everybody in the world knew was coming. If you didn't know anything else about Ryan Garcia, you know he's popular on TikTok and he throws left hooks. If anything else, you could have got dropped with any other punch and I'd have been like, yeah, because who would have expected him to drop you with a right cross? Okay. But don't go out there and get dropped with the left hand. Come on, man. Don't give up a home run to Barry Bonds because you thought you was going to blow one fast on the inside by him. No, he's waiting on that. You leave a fastball high, it's supposed to go 600 feet if Barry Bonds is in the box. So, when you get hit repeatedly by Ryan Garcia's left hook, what was you thinking? What are you doing? And so it looked like Devin Haney let himself get taught. Like the same discernment he used when he fought Regis Prograis, stand in his own program. Don't go chasing a knockdown. Don't go try to do something outside of what we are. Stay with what we are. Pure boxer. Pure boxer with one of the best jabs in boxing. Because anytime that he didn't get touched by the left hand, he won a round. Even that, honestly, y'all can hate me if you want to. I think that Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney fight was a draw. When it was scored, I scored it a draw. Because the only rounds that Garcia won were the 3 rounds he knocked him down in. He picks up the extra point. Man, I got the score somewhere. If y'all bother me enough, I'll go find that score. But it was a draw. By the score, just by scoring wise, it was a draw. Like I said, the only rounds Devin Haney lost is when he got touched. And every time he got touched, he went down. God dang, man. And then what's crazy is every other round that Ryan Garcia didn't drop Devin, he didn't even throw any punches. He was in terrible shape. So he didn't even throw any punches. So Devin won, he clean won like 7, 8 rounds. Literally. But he got dropped 3, 4 times. So, I mean, I don't know, man. It scored a drop. But he fought him. That's the thing about it. He got in a ring with Garcia. He got in a ring with Prograis. Got in a ring with Lomachenko. Kambosos twice. Jorge Linares and Jojo Diaz earlier, those are solid fights as well, especially for a young guy coming up. So those are solid fights. Devin Haney has the best resume out of all these guys. Devin, then Tio. And then honestly, I think there's a conversation between Shakur and Tank. If you ask me who has the better resume between Shakur and Tank, I think it's close. Tank's had the bigger fights. He's better promoted. He's got the bigger machine behind him. PBC versus what Bob Arum was doing in Top Rank. So Al Heyman putting together, lining up these guys to be dropped. So he's got the bigger fighters, but I'm not overly impressed by any of them. A weight-drained Ryan Garcia. Pitbull Cruz, who our dog TG1 just told us Pitbull took that fight on short notice. Pitbull Cruz. Who was Pitbull before and who has he been after? I'm not overly, every time I see Pitbull Cruz, he's a bar fighter. I'm not impressed with him as a legitimate contender or like a legitimate champion level fighter. That's not what he is. He's a tough guy. He's an entertaining bar fighter. There's nothing wrong with that. We need that in the sport too. Especially if it's going to be a guy on a big undercard. If I'm putting together an undercard, I want Pitbull Cruz to fight on my undercard. It's going to be a tough, scrappy bar brawl. It's going to be entertaining lead-up, build-up fight. So yeah, but he's not. I don't consider him a championship contender, a level fighter. No, it's not overly impressive. Weight drain Mario Barrios, Rolly Romero, a plant like Frank Martin. He's an 8th grader trying to fight a varsity player. There's an 8th grader in the ring with a varsity guy, a varsity state champion in a ring with an 8th grader. What are we doing? And then, of course, now the most impressive victories, Jose Pedraza and Leo Santa Cruz. Pedraza almost 10 years ago, Santa Cruz 5 years ago. Those are impressive. Those are the two ones impressive. But is that resume much better, if at all, than Oscar Valdez and Jamel Herring? I don't know. Me personally, I don't know. So I think those are close. And then, of course, the weakest resume of all of these guys, Ryan Garcia. If not for Devin Haney, the only other fighter that we would mention on Ryan Garcia's history is the loss to Tank. He needed that Devin Haney fight for his legitimacy. For his own legitimacy, he needed that Devin Haney fight. That's the only name on his resume. Besides that loss to Tank. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like we're not giving the guys who are getting in the ring and willing to get in the ring and trying to get in the ring with guys, we're not giving them enough credit, man. That's how I feel about Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez. Y'all can say what y'all want to about Devin Haney. He didn't knock anybody out. His chin is weak. Man, whatever. He's willing to fight. Tank don't want to fight Shakur. Devin sent him a contract. Devin was going to fight Shakur. Tank won't. So what's the problem? He got in the ring with Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia showed up overweight and on performance-enhancing drugs. Y'all can make an excuse for it or whatever you want to say about it. He was on some shit. He was overweight. He still got in the ring. Tank wouldn't fight him. And Tank made him come in malnutrition. Tank only agreed to fight him malnourished. So what's that victory win? What's that victory mean? It doesn't hold as much weight to me. It doesn't. You didn't fight the version that Devin Haney fought. He was out of shape, but he was big as hell. Yeah, so I don't know, man. I don't think we judging these guys fairly or the right way. And then, like I said, then Teofimo Lopez. Man, Teofimo Lopez been his biggest problem. Keandre, man, where you? Hey, man. I'm glad you showed up, dog. Man, look, I was winding down now, bro. Man, we tired to talk about it, man. We talk about everything, dog. No, he wants him on his own terms. He could already had him on his own terms. It's always gonna be on his terms. He's the A side in that fight. And Shakur's already came out and said that. Tank has made every excuse he can come up with why not to fight Shakur. First, it was he's boring. And then when he left Bob Arum and went to Eddie Hearn, it was like, well, I don't like Eddie Hearn, so I'm not doing business with Eddie Hearn, so I'm not gonna fight Shakur. Like, no, man, those are excuses. He don't want the fight. He didn't want to fight him. And the reason he didn't want to fight him is like, that's a fight that he may lose. And he may lose that fight just because of the styles. Not because he's not a stronger fighter. I don't know if he's going to catch Shakur. Tank already starts slow. So Shakur will dance all night. And so Tank probably won't catch him. And so it'll probably be a loss on his record. Like I said, I don't know, man. He said, listen, I do that. Tank is doing what should have been doing years ago. What's he doing? You know what he should have did years ago? He should have fought Lomachenko. That's what he should have did years ago. He ran from Lomachenko. Hey, so he went out and had a drink little drink last night. It's all good, big dog. It's all good, big dog. But hold on. You got to explain this to me, bro. Hold on. When you say Tank is doing what should have done years ago, you got to explain that to me. Tank is doing what Canelo's been doing for the last 5, 6, 7 years. Fighting a whole bunch of inflated. He's fighting a lot of inflated B-tier fighters. All right, I'm going to do it again. I don't know when you got in. Let's look at Tank's resume. I'm going to tell you the last 5 guys that Tank Davis has fought. Tell me who, if any of these guys, is a legitimate champion level fighter. Frank Martin, Rolly Romero, Pitbull Cruz, Ryan Garcia, and Mario Barrios. Come on, man. And Mario Barrios was weight drained and Ryan Garcia was weight drained. So we got dehydrated, malnutrition Ryan Garcia, a dehydrated, malnutrition Mario Barrios, Pitbull Cruz, a bar fighter, Rolly Romero. I still don't understand how Rolly Romero speaks for himself. And then Frank Martin. Frank Martin was an 8th grader in the ring with a 2-time All-State varsity senior. Way overmatched. You know, so like who's he? Like the most impressive wins on Tank's resume for me, Jorge Pedraza, 10 years ago. 10 years ago, that Jorge Pedraza fight, as impressive win. Especially for that level that Tank was at then. Tank was 22, 23, maybe even younger than that. He was like 22, let's say, so right around 22. So that was his first real test or challenge. Jorge Pedraza was a legitimate champion. He was a solid fighter. Spanked him. Impressive. Leo Santa Cruz, 5 years ago. This is where Tank really is coming into his own. He's 25. Leo Santa Cruz is a fighter. Leo Santa Cruz is a legitimate guy. I'll give it to him. Spanked him. Great. Awesome. Now it's time for you to take a step. Like this is where Tank Davis in 2020, coming off of this Leo Santa Cruz victory, he was poised to take a step and really throw himself out there as a legitimate champion. You know what I mean? Like a legitimate take all comers, take over the sport of boxing champion. That was the window to do it. You know what he did after that? He started treating himself like Canelo. He started treating himself like Money May, Rolly Romero, Mario Barrios, Ryan Garcia, Pitbull Cruz, Frank the Tank Martin. And now he's fighting Lamont Roach. Come on, man. Yeah. Keandre, man, no, that's a part of the fight, bro. And you know what? And you know, this is the thing. Like, either if you're gonna, like when he was fighting like that Ryan Garcia fight, then don't take the fight. Say you don't want to take the fight because he's too big. But if you know it was no secret, Ryan Garcia, man, look, Ryan Garcia looked like them kids that used to be stuck in people's attics when he fought that fight, man. So either fight him at a catch weight or make. I don't know. I would have rather. I don't know, man. I can't agree, man. Because you know what? Bud ain't asked for no rehydration clause against Canelo. And Bud's moving up 3 weight classes. I'm going to say 3. He had the one fight at 54. He's going up 3 classes, man. From 47. If you want to be technical, he's going up 4. From his prime, he's 4 weight classes above his prime. Did not even entertain a rehydration clause. Now, not to say Canelo would have given it to him. Who knows? But he ain't even asked for it. If you want to fight, fight. If you don't want to fight him, then don't fight him and say he's too big. Because that's cool. But if you want to fight him, fight him. Because that's what comes with it. And here's the thing about it as well, Canelo. Here's another thing about it as well, Keandre. I'm gonna put the comments back up since you in here. Here's the thing about it as well, Keandre. They could have fought at 140. Tank Davis, he fought Mario Barrios at 140. So you fought Mario Barrios at 140, then you forced Ryan Garcia to fight you at 135. Or whatever the catch weight, but you go back down to 135 and then you had the catch weight, whatever that catch weight was. Was it like 38, 30, whatever it was. But you've already shown us you can fight at 40. He didn't like the taste of 40. Now he beat Mario Barrios, he dropped him, he stopped him. But boy, he took some shots. It wasn't clean. He took some shots in that Mario Barrios fight at 40 and took his little ass back down to 35. So we've seen you fight at 40. So you're going to tell me a fighter that fights at 140, it's unusual for him to come into the ring at 145? No, it's not. That's not unusual. Floyd and Canelo fought at 52. They had a catch weight at 52. But Canelo came in that fight. Floyd's talked about it. Canelo came in that fight at roughly 170 pounds. Canelo had 20 pounds on Floyd in that Canelo-Floyd fight. So don't tell me that Tank couldn't have had that same style of fight against Ryan Garcia. And Ryan Garcia ain't Canelo. Even that Canelo back then had 40 fights and 34 knockouts. Back then. He had 40 fights and like 30-something knockouts back then when he fought Floyd. People said he was too young. 40 fights into his career. 34 knockouts. A champion. Come on, man. Hell no. Who had Ryan Garcia fought before that Tank fight? Nobody. Tomato cans. Ryan Garcia was Instagram famous fighting tomato cans. And Tank was scared to give him a fair fade. Come on, man. No, I mean, but well, here's the thing about it though. Like, so there's always, and it's not just like it's only a bigger deal because Tank and Floyd, for that matter, they're naturally smaller fighters. But that's not uncommon. Like when Sugar Ray Leonard was fighting at 147, he wasn't 147 in the fight. He also rehydrated. So normally both fighters rehydrate. Everybody fights down a class. If your walk around weight is 168 pounds, you're doing yourself a disservice fighting at 168 pounds. You know what I mean? By and large. Now, a guy like Floyd Mayweather, he's got to work to be 154 pounds. So when he fought Canelo at 152 to catch weight, he was 152 fight night. Because that's big for him. Like, he has to work to get that size. Tank is similar that way. He's just naturally a smaller guy. But it's not, rehydration isn't Like, it isn't an issue. Everybody rehydrates. It's just that these guys are naturally small guys. So that's why I was saying, if you don't want to fight him, just say I don't want to fight because he's too big. It's hard for me to make this weight. Like, I have to work to be this heavy, so I don't want to fight. But if you're gonna fight him, fight him. Don't. I don't know, man. Don't handicap him and fight him and then want full credit. Like, he fought him, he beat him, he stopped him. I still think he stops him. If Ryan Garcia would have rehydrated to 147 pounds in that fight, so I think that fight happens the same. Tank probably still stops him. Maybe he doesn't stop him to the body because he's already malnutrition and dehydrated, and he did have a rib injury in training camp, so he had all that stuff going on already, and he's dehydrated. But be that as it may, I still think Tank stops Ryan Garcia regardless. Tank didn't have that type of faith in himself. No, but that's not how it works, dog. That's not how it works. Everybody cuts weight for boxing and wrestling are the same, dog. You cut weight, you cut down a weight class. So that's common. Earl Spence is 160 pounds. He fought at 147 for the better part of 10 years. He's 165 pound man. So you saying Earl Spence should have been fighting at middleweight 160? No, it's not how it works, dog. You cut down. That's common. These guys are just smaller guys. They're just little guys. And so it's a different conversation for them. But typically speaking, everybody fights down, dog. No, it's a handicap. Like, if you can make the weight, like if you get down and make the weight, then you made the weight. Now telling somebody they gotta fast the night before the fight, you can't have a meal or rehydrate or drink too much water the night before the fight, so now you go in at 80%. I don't like that, man. Just don't fight them. I'd rather you not fight them. Don't fight them handicapped. Or if you're going to fight him handicapped, don't ask me to give you full credit. I have no doubts he's a better fighter, more talented fighter, more proven fighter than Ryan Garcia. Can anybody name a Ryan Garcia opponent before Tank Davis? Shit, I can't. I watch a lot of boxing. I watch more boxing than probably the average person. I can't. Did Ryan Garcia fight Thomas DeLorme? Maybe. I can't name three fighters that I can't name three fighters Ryan Garcia's fought outside of Tank Davis and Devin Haney. I can't name three other fighters he's fought because he ain't fought nobody. He ain't fought nobody. This is the guy that had Tank that scared. This is the guy that had Tank so concerned. He hadn't done anything in the sport besides being a teenage girl's heartthrob. Besides having 2 million followers on Instagram, he hadn't done shit. And this is the guy that had Tank Davis so afraid? Come on, man. No. If Floyd didn't make Canelo have a rehydration clause, then I'm not going to give Tank Davis an excuse for having Ryan Garcia have a rehydration clause. Hell no. Hell no, bruh. No way. I can't do it. Keandre. Hey, Keandre, man, did you see that Benavidez fight last night? Did you watch the Benavidez versus David Morrell fight last night? What'd you think about it? Let me know if you caught it. Let me know if you caught it. Another thing, Keandre, man, if you still in here, well, let me know what you thought about that Benavidez Morrell fight. I had Benavidez winning. I had it like 9. I thought it was 9. I either had it 9. I had it like 9-3. I want to say something like that. But the final score or the final card when I scored it was like 116-110. Morrell got awarded a knockdown in the 11th, which was a trip, but they awarded it a knockdown. But then he also lost a point in that same round, so the score was a little weird. But I had it for Benavidez. I think Benavidez was won it pretty decisively in my mind. But Morrell was game though. Like he didn't fold or roll over, or, you know what I mean, anything like that. Like he was there, he was game, and he was competitive. You know what I mean? But I think it was a clear win for Benavidez though. But yeah, let me know what you think about that. But then also, man, what do you think about the legacies of these young guys? We didn't even talk about Boots. Damn. Boots 27. Now I've seen Boots fight live either once or twice. I've definitely seen Boots fight live. I want to say I've seen Boots twice in Vegas. I seen him on the undercard of Spence and Ugas. I saw that fight in Vegas, and I believe Boots was on the undercard of that fight. I seen him live there, and I seen him fight another fighter in Vegas as well. Not DeLorme. I don't think it was Thomas DeLorme. I've seen Boots twice live, but yeah, man, I want to know, man, what you think about their legacies? When I look at the legacies of these guys, Tank, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Shakur Stevenson, and even Jerron Bucenis, I think the most impressive resume out of these guys is Devin Haney. And then Teo. And then 3 for me is a toss-up because I can see the argument that Shakur's resume is better than Tank's. Tank's got bigger fights, more entertaining fights, bigger money-making fights for sure. But Oscar Valdez win for me for Shakur was a massively impressive win. Oscar Valdez is a legitimate champion. He was a legitimate undefeated champion and got smoked. Oscar Valdez is a champion again. He went back and got that title. He's a champion again. Completely outclassed by Shakur. Jamel Herring was another very strong fighter. Got his ass beat by Shakur. Those two victories for me are just as impressive as Jose Pedraza and Leo Santa Cruz for Tank. Because those are the only ones that I'm giving them credit for, like in this conversation. So I think there's an argument that those fights are pretty. I think those 2 and 2 are pretty strong. So I can see the argument for either one of them being third best resume. But Devin and Tito for me, number 1 and number 2, clearly, easily, without question. Then I'm looking who's left. Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and Tank. So I mean, he's got 2 names on there. One of them's a no contest. Regardless how you feel about it, it's a no contest. And then the other one's a loss to Tank, which you got drained, but he lost. Even that's still a better resume than Boots. Boots ain't got no bodies. It's not all his fault, but he ain't got no bodies. It is what it is. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. But be that as it may, I think we winding on down, man. Shout out to my dog Keandre, man. I'm glad you got in here though. Got in here this morning, dog. Sound like you had yourself a good time last night. Go ahead, pop a cup of Advil, man. Drink some water, get yourself back together. But be that as it may, man, we're gonna go ahead and call it. Yeah, we about 2 hours in. We had a lot of good talk today, man. Shout out to all those members, man. Y'all know what time it is, man. Time for that real member roll call. You know what I mean? Shout out to my dog Keandre, made it in here after a long night, man. I appreciate you as always, dog. Shout out to my dog TG1, man. I hadn't seen your name before, man, but hey, appreciate you coming through. Holla at your dog, man. Hit that like and subscribe for me before you get up out of here, man. Hey, you suck. I know what you had going on, man. Shout out to Reed Roof. You know what I'm saying? He said he got all the Steelers fans after him. Hey, man, this definitely is a Steelers safe space, man. For sure. Reed Pickens, you in the building as well, man. Appreciate you coming through. Holla at your dog, man. A couple new names. I appreciate y'all stopping through. Giant Parham, man, was in here talking some good boxing with me earlier today, man. So appreciate you as well, homeboy. Hope you hit that like and subscribe before you got out of here. See who else is in the building, man. My dog Champy came in the building as well. Dropped in. Holla at your dog. Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Who else we had in the building? Sisters in the building. Appreciate you as well, man. Shout out to the fam bell. Mom Dukes is in the building. My dog Miles is in the building. Let me see, man. Y'all know what's going on. Hold on. I'm looking for you. Damn. Say the same thing every week, so feel free to say it with me at home. If I forgot to say your name, damn. Hey, my bad. But charge it to my head and don't charge it to my heart. You know I'm thinking about you, big dog. Appreciate all love, support as always, man. Man, hey, this is fun for me, man. I haven't got a chance to talk boxing in so long. Been completely caught up and invested in the NFL season. And now Super Bowl Sunday is just a couple. It's coming up sooner rather than later, man. So Super Bowl Sunday is definitely on the way. But in the meantime, between time, man, we had a little time to talk some boxing. So definitely enjoy that. Appreciate y'all sticking around and chopping it up with your boy. Hey, I seen a couple new faces in the building, a couple new names in the chat. Hey, man, hope y'all hit that like and subscribe button before y'all got out of here. And you know what? It's a good question. It's a good question, man. I'll think about it. I'll say Wednesday for now, man. Wednesday at 7 for right now. Let's plan on getting back into the regular flow of the program. So Wednesday at 7, I'll see y'all. If not, then we'll definitely be live Sunday morning, man, Super Bowl Sunday. But yeah, we'll probably get in here and chop it up and talk a little ball on Wednesday. So until Wednesday at 7, I'll see y'all then. Peace.